Okay, now I'm gonna go on Instagram. I think I'm doing it.
Okay, good.
But it's
Awesome.
not. Now I'm just trying to go live on Instagram. I think I'm just moving fast. Okay.
Okay.
It's spinning. It's spinning.
It's spinning.
Hello. Yes. Us
Spinning is
here.
spinning.
Us here. Yes.
Okay, cool.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Happy Monday. It
Happy
was a
Monday.
little technical difficulties getting here, but
Just a smidgen.
us is here. Us is here. So happy Monday.
Yeah.
Welcome to another Monday moment with your girl Mojo, aka Maisha. Today I'm here with the lovely Aisha, so it won't be hard for y'all to remember or me to remember her name, the Aisha Claire. So thank y'all for joining. I usually say I'm gonna give y'all a couple few minutes to join, but I think y'all had a couple few minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump right into the topic in case y'all didn't see that lovely flyer that I created. So if y'all don't know, each and every Monday I ask y'all to have a moment with me and a special guest, and we talk about all different kinds of lovely stuff. And the premise behind it is just finding your mojo. And what finding your mojo means is how you find yourself, how you show up as your authentic self and whatever it is you're doing. See that lovely sign there? Finding your mojo. So today's mojo will be found through clarity, calm, and accomplishment in chaos. But if y'all don't already know, every Monday I also start off the moment with a cocktail. Because what better way to start off a good conversation than with a cocktail or mocktail if that's what you're feeling like this week. But this week I'm feeling like a good old cocktail. So I'm going to go ahead and get the party started. I've been on a tequila kick since Cinco de Mayo. So I'm going to go on and keep the tequila thing going. So today I'm going to make a mule with some tequila. I got my pretty rose colored cup to prove it. So y'all, I got you drinking with me too, right, Aisha? You drinking
Yes,
with
I
me.
got my glass here.
All right. Now,
And
what's even funnier is I have a little bit of reposado of the Don Julio left, and then in October we went to Tulum, and I got this special, some kind of other Hotel California tequila, which is also reposado. But I'm gonna start with the Don Julio because old
okay.
faithful, old faithful. So let's go on and do it. I don't know. I usually name the drink, but I don't know. This is gonna be
Mm,
I don't know, some mojified mule's cup. How about that? Mojified mule's cup.
I
So
don't
if
drink
I'm
very often.
keeping the rose colored theme going, so I'm gonna do a couple shots of my tequila
Look at you.
because it just feels like the right thing to do. Couple shots.
Okay.
And the shaker that already has ice in it. I've heard that Aisha don't have no ice today, y'all. She don't have no ice.
I don't do cold drinks. I do room temperature water and
I
everything's in the fridge. So
do room temperature water. I'm not gonna lie. And I have a girlfriend who she does not do ice either. So it cracks me up when we used to go back
yeah.
and
Well, all
forth.
my drinks are always in the fridge, and I don't do like canned stuff. So it's never like I have storage of, you know how people have drinks in a can and then I don't ever
Yeah.
have
You
always
don't
a
have
bottle in the fridge somewhere.
all right, well, I did two shots. If y'all want to y'all want to drink along with us, I'm doing two shots of tequila. I'm gonna do a half a shot of Miss Cointreau because it feels like the right thing to do. Triple sec, any kind of orange liqueur will do. Sometimes I do agave, but I ain't take that out of the refrigerator, so we don't have that today. And what I meant to grab was some peach nectar. So give me 2 seconds. Peach nectar.
Peach nectar. That sounds good. Maisha, I'm coming over so you can make me one.
And actually, I probably didn't even need it, but since I don't have agave, I wanted a little something sweet. So I'm gonna do I think just a splash of me some peach nectar. I'm gonna shake her up and I'm gonna top her off with some ginger beer because I like bubbles. I like bubbles. I'm not gonna lie. So here we go. I'm having a peach mojified Moscow Mule. All those M's on a Monday. How about that?
That ginger splash sounds really good.
Right? I like a ginger beer.
Mhm.
All right, so let's shake her on up. Get her right. That sounds right. That sounds properly shook in my little mule glass. I'm gonna
Nice.
pour her over some ice. Oh,
Nice.
she look pretty.
So pretty.
Uh-huh.
I love those copper ones.
And then I'm gonna just do a quick pour of my ginger beer that is not cold, so I gotta put it on some ice. On the top. Don't shake up your ginger beer because you're gonna be mad. You're gonna make a mess. Yeah, that's it. That's all. That's it. And though I'm gonna do me a slice of lime because I like a little garnishment. Looks pretty. It looks pretty. So, y'all, now that we got that out of the way, after we do a quick little toast up, we're gonna have a little conversation about being clear and calm and concise and accomplished, right? Let me let me stir it up just to make sure since I poured that ginger beer in there just now. I love a pretty utensil, can you tell? Now, Aisha, what you drinking? What you drinking? Do tell.
So I just poured a little of this Leblon rum.
Oh, she fancy, huh?
I wish I had more things, but I don't drink that often, so I don't have like a whole bunch of mixers in my house. I have some black and blue, blueberry, apple, and black currant juice
Oh, that sounds beautiful.
with this, with my grandparents' glass with our last name initial on it.
All right.
I brought out granddaddy's glasses.
That's what's up. I love a pretty glass.
Yeah, so I have the ancestors with me.
All right, let's pour it
So,
up so we can
rum
properly.
and berry juice.
Yes, rum berry juice. I'm having a little mojified mule. That's what I'm gonna call it.
Pretty.
It's official. Y'all should have seen us trying to log on today. It was
Oh my
trying to
goodness.
give us the things. But we persevered. We accomplished things in the chaos.
We did. We did.
So cheers to that. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
That's not too shabby. It has just the fizz I was looking for.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, y'all. So thank you, like I said earlier, for joining for another Monday moment with your girl, Mojo, and today's girl, Aisha. If y'all don't know, if y'all didn't see the flyer, today's topic, if I can remember it, because it's always hard for me to keep in my mind, is finding clarity, calm, and accomplishment in chaos. So that's what we're talking about today. Y'all already know me, the Jersey girl, Maisha, and the lovely East Orange. I'm gonna let Aisha talk about herself a little bit, say who she is, and then we're gonna get into the conversation.
Thank you, Maisha, for having me.
Of
I am Aisha. I kind of love that it's Aisha and Maisha tonight.
Life and life.
Life and life. I am a clarity coach and also a PR and media relations person. So I kind of created my own job based on my gifts and talents. My minister aunt said a long time ago, your gifts will make room for you. And so I just started doing what I was good at, organizing people, keeping their lives, streamlined and efficient, and went to image consulting school to become an image consultant. And being an image consultant turned into creating clarity for people's appearance, how they want to be perceived in their offices and things like that. And then that grew into closet organization because we were disrupting all of their wardrobe. When I would go over to try on things and figure out what works for them and what doesn't work for them, that turned into closet organization. That turned into home organization. That turned into packing people up and moving them state to state or out of the country. And that turned into like going to the other end and unpacking them and setting up their systems in their homes so that their things are just more efficient to find. Mise en place. I just create mise en place everywhere. So I help with clarity in the wardrobe, in the space, and also one of my gifts is aesthetic. So I design pitch decks for TV shows. I help with documentary scripts for people who are overwhelmed with the research that they've compiled and they can't take all of that and just whittle it down to a script. And I also work for the first Black chess grandmaster, Maurice Ashley, taking care of all of his PR, media relations, and bookings management.
Wow.
So it's Maurice and clarity in other ways. But Maurice needs clarity because he has been a very successful commentator and keynote speaker for 30 years. He travels the entire world doing this every year in Poland right now. So he's always in a different time zone. And he just has so many projects going on that occasionally he needs someone to brain dump to. So he brain dumps to me. I kind of kick it back to him in an organized way that he can follow each project efficiently. So that's part of what we do together besides the bookings management and interfacing with the press. And, and he has a fellowship now. So the fellowship is something that we're pushing and promoting. I just literally get in where I fit in.
All right, do all of the things.
Yeah, take your
All right,
time.
so we're gonna have a quiz and for this at the end. We're gonna ask you all of the things that she said she did. See how much you remember.
I know, right?
Hmm.
Mhm.
So in our conversations, in our pre-conversation, we were talking about what we wanted to discuss, what we wanted to discuss. You know, the Jersey and New Yorkers sometimes talk so fast that we blend all of our words. So I'm working on that.
We do.
What we said we wanted to discuss, or what we kept coming back to is just the chaos of it all and how some techniques to be calm in the midst of the madness, and also how to manage sometimes more than situations, sometimes people. So I don't know where you want to begin with that. Should we talk about yesterday, or was that Saturday when we were talking? We kind of kept kind of going back to relationships, but I feel like chaos
Yeah,
could be anywhere. So
it's chaos. Well, maybe I should. The reason why I'm so good at chaos is because when I was growing up, my father and I are very close now, but when I grew up, he was in Africa. So
mm,
we were not, there was no internet back then. This is like the late 70s, 80s. Um, and I had an upbringing in my mom's house and my grandparents' house, my dad's parents' house. And I was going to school every day. And after school, sometimes I'd be like, I think I'm going to go to my mom's house tonight. I think I'm going to go to my grandparents' house tonight. I had this flexibility of living out of my locker and deciding where I wanted to go in the evening.
and your mom was in New York. Your mom and grandparents.
Sure, they lived in the same block for a long time. And then another time she moved later in high school, she moved like 10 blocks away from where my grandparents were. So
Okay.
that's what will decide like which house I'm going to.
Mhm.
And only upon graduating from high school and reading a teacher's recommendation did I realize that outside of myself, people perceived my life as unstable.
Mm.
I didn't think of it because when you're in it, you don't know what that is.
That's just your, yes, that's just your life.
I'm a preteen, I'm a teen. I don't know anything different than I live out of my locker and I go to whoever's house I feel like
And
after.
was it like that from the beginning, from when you were young to,
Yeah,
or is
so
that
I've
when,
always
like
been
it
juggling
changed?
2 homes. I've always been juggling 2 homes. Like there was a point where I had 2 apartments, like I've always had two. I don't know, I just never had that like one solid like thing that I'm stuck
Mhm.
to. So, I mean, the apartment I live in now, I've been in for a very long time. So that is very much roots. But growing up, I had to balance things that other kids didn't necessarily have to balance.
Mhm.
And I also helped my mom raise my siblings. I also, took care of my mom in her elder days. So I'm just used to being the person who's always pitching in and helping and balancing when other
Mhm.
people are overwhelmed.
Okay. Okay.
So now the world is moving kind of like every 2 seconds, you're getting something that's either disrupting your spirit, making you worry, making you stress, making you think about how it's going to affect your bank
Mhm.
account and how that's going to affect your family. And that influx of information that's giving you that moment of like the feelings
Mhm.
is just chaos through the speakers. It's chaos coming through the speakers, chaos coming through your phone, through the television, through radios and cars, just chaos coming at you. And it's
Right.
almost, I feel like it's it's partly intentional to put people off balance so that we're so busy focusing on survival that we don't realize the bigger.
Amen. I believe that also.
Always
Yeah.
a thing. That's always a thing. So I try to tune a lot of it out. People ask me about news articles, like things that happened recently, and I'm like, oh, I haven't heard about it. I don't know. And I was reading the 4 Hour Work Week, and Tim Ferriss actually recommended, not getting caught up in the minute to minute just frenzy.
Now, let me ask you this. You said that growing up, you were in between homes, and that was just your norm. That was just your regular life. But was there a point that it did become overwhelming? So you started to look for things like this to help you have calm?
No, I was absolutely fine. Like I loved my grandparents and I loved my mom. They both provided for me very well. So I kind of was just like, I mean, my mom was a single mom, so it was a little more of a struggle in her household, but she was so resourceful and so like, my mom was on point. She was a very thoughtful, strategic person. So she always figured out how to make us happy and how to make us feel like we
So
weren't.
what happened that this is such a long, big, like life mission for you almost? What happened that this was so important to you? Is not even going to use.
Well, I made friends with some women who are like retirees. And some of my earliest clients with Perfectly Clear were retirees who now had always had the resources, but now had the time to settle their homes.
Mm.
Women who collect art, collect fabrics from handmade fabrics from all over Africa. They collect beautiful things. And it's not like you walk into their home and it's cluttered with hoarder stuff. It's literally beautiful things, but they just don't have enough space for their belongings.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them had not had company over in 30 years, had not had company over in 20 years, didn't host a dinner in decades just because they were embarrassed about people coming into their space. So when I started working, going from image consulting and starting to do organization again, it just became the jobs I was called to do were changing people's lives. Like their space at home it was such that they felt like they couldn't live, expand, and progress. So clutter is from this Middle English word that means called cloiter, like CLOITR, which means to coagulate. So when you have clutter in your home, clutter on your desk, clutter in your mind, clutter in your closet, those things are binding you from progression. When you're looking for something for 10 minutes in the morning because you can't find it, now you're late for work. If you are in a home,
puts you in a whole different kind of mood too, just because of that.
rushing and like it's just not calm to be looking for things in chaos. You know, I'm a Pisces. I tend to have organized chaos. So like someone can see my bookshelves have like boxes, books, and some figurines, right? But to them, they're like, you have these boxes. And I'm like, yeah, but the boxes have everything. I know what's in each little plastic bin. I know what's in there, and the straw ones and the cotton ones. I know what's in there. And that is access to things that I know I'll need at some point. I don't need them right now, this second, so they don't need to be on display. But if I need a light bulb, I know where it is. If I need scotch tape, I know where it is.
I can speak from my own experience, my own client's experience. That I mean, even and sometimes it seems so overwhelming. I like to think that everything has a place also. But when you came in and just some small changes you made such a big difference. Even how I think feels different. It feels more clear. Even how I feel when I walk into the room. It really helps because, like you said, you know where everything is and how you place the things too. Makes
furniture, like your desk by the window. We did things for your mental while you work.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to
say. I love your space, by the way. That sunroom is beautiful. So it was just a pleasure. It was a pleasure. Yeah.
It makes me happy. But how did you have you always been good at that? Like even when you were young, you were just good at those things?
When I think back to like, I was always good at organizing a lot of something. Like when I was a teenager, I had like 300 pictures on my walls of models for magazines, but like I laid 300 pictures in my room. You know what I mean? Like I did that. I was always a patient, methodical, kind of like could work with small detail kind of person, even as a kid. But I think what really pulled me into it was I packed a few relatives to move or travel. My sister says to this day, she's like, I remember the first time you packed my stuff for international travel. I just couldn't believe how much stuff you fit in my bag that, like you have a pair of, let's say, Timberland boots. Take the boots out, put the box in the suitcase, roll clothes, put it in the box. Now the box disappears to nothing but the thickness of the cardboard, right? But she didn't think about that. She didn't think about it. There's so many tips. And then, so I got older, and then I was working at MTV, and we moved an entire office floor out of the building, and then they renovated the floor, and we moved to a different building. Then we moved back into our renovated floor. And when we did that, I was working for the SVP of production and administration. So she was the one who oversaw the move, who gets which office, how does it work, where are the bins. We had purging bins outside of everybody's office. So people were coming out of their office just purging in the hallways. And then we had to build these banker's boxes to take the box, the paper from our floor. And working with her for that huge corporate floor move was the first time I ever put together some banker's boxes. Now, banker's boxes are like the go-to for every client with me, because you need to store your things in something like a vessel that's inexpensive and temporary until the furniture comes, and then we can unpack everything.
All right, let me get some of them.
Yeah, they're on your list.
Yes, they are. They are.
Some
They
stuff.
are.
Yeah.
So now I've been perusing your website. I mean, I definitely want to get back to the chaos thing, but even I've done a couple of photo shoots, especially at some brand photography and that kind of thing. So I even noticed on your website you help people like direct them in their photo shoots, right?
Oh yeah,
Or help
yeah.
them pose and style them and that kind of thing. So did that just because of the detail you pay attention to? Is that why it flows over into that kind of line of work also?
Well, I love camera work. I just love front of camera, behind camera. I was a film studies major. My first degree is in film studies.
Mm-hmm.
My master's is in African visual arts. I went to Nigeria to study West African art.
Okay.
So actually, I studied the art of the continent, but I was in West Africa.
Okay.
So I'm an aesthetic person by nature, but just modeling for so many years makes it easy for me to look at someone and say, these shape, the shapes you're making with your body should be a certain way. We are a one-dimensional figure when you're a model. You just have to imagine yourself pressing up against glass. A lot of people want to go like this, but
Right.
you know what I mean? So it's got to be for the one dimension. So I go into photo shoots and help people that are not very experienced to relax, in front of the camera, because people who are not experienced modeling tend to tense their hands or tense their neck. And
This is me. Or I do one of those all the way up here.
Like head is too hot, right? And I'm always like, look for the light. Your light should be hitting your cheekbone. Make sure your shoulders are square if it's a particular type of shot. Just little things. I've coached couples on camera. I've coached, men who have to take corporate images who are not used to it. Just anyone who's uncomfortable in front of the camera can definitely use someone there to say, okay, because the photographer's not doing it. They're not. It's not their job. They shouldn't have to sit there and coach you and tell you how to turn. Some are very talented at it and they know what they're looking at and they can do that, but they're not paying attention to the detail. They're not trying to see if one of your threads is out or, any of those little things. And I'm detail oriented enough to see like, oh, that hair is looking crazy through the frame. In this depiction, that hair looks crazy. It might look good in person, but from the camera's angle, it doesn't look good. So I can be on set and do that.
So now I get a little further back on topic, because I know we say we're going to help the people be calm and accomplished in chaos. So you and I were kind of having our sidebar. We were kind of talking about it in the midst of the madness of situations and also with the people. So what are some techniques? What are some things that you do to remain calm and still be
For me, minute to minute mindfulness of the sensations in my body. So I have had a few therapists, and the last one was she was a somatic expert. So she was a previous dancer and very focused on scanning the body, feeling what you feel. So sometimes something will, like I was saying, the things coming through the speakers are, triggering you. So something could trigger worry and stress and fear, but where do you feel that? Right? So most people feel it like here, or you feel it in the pit of your stomach. You might feel it here. And some people believe in chakras, some don't. I do. And I believe that sometimes those things trigger your body to falter in certain areas because of what you heard. So it could be your response to something could just be tightening here and tightening in your sacral area and tightening in your neck. And the next thing you know, you have an upset stomach. It's caused by the influx of chemicals, your hormones are flying because your nervous system has been disrupted by something that you've responded to emotionally. So when you sense those things happening in your body, when they're happening, the first thing you need to do is acknowledge that it's happening. But we're so busy going from reaction to reaction that sometimes we don't even stop and say, ooh, that made me feel like, ooh, God, like, I don't like the way that feels. You got to stop longer on the feeling. And I think pay attention to the somatic response that your body's having to emotional things. That somatic response is telling you to take a beat and exhale it. So many people don't exhale in the midst of chaos.
And tell me that word you're saying, somatic.
Somatic. Soma means the body. Somatic.
Okay.
Somatic.
Make sure I got it right.
Yeah, and people can look up somatic healing. That's a thing. There's breathing exercises. There's exercises of even hugging yourself when you feel a certain way. There's times when you can soothe yourself, but people don't take the time or even know that it's a thing, or even some people don't even feel comfortable doing this. Mm-hmm. Like some people don't feel comfortable just holding themselves. But
when you said that sometimes you don't take a moment to acknowledge it, it made me also think that once you don't take the moment to acknowledge it, you're on to the next feeling where you don't even realize what triggered it in the first place. And now you might even have a compounded trigger because you didn't acknowledge the first feeling that you had. So, oh my goodness, talk about unpacking that.
Yes. So it's like you didn't respond. You didn't sit with the first feeling. So now you angry at somebody else. Or now you honking at the person on the road, or now you starting to fight with somebody in the street. And this is what we have going on. Like, especially in New York City, people are volatile, and you get on the subway, somebody might be popping off at somebody else. And just things happen. In New York City, it is very difficult to spend more than 45 minutes outside without seeing some sort of altercation or police showing up somewhere or something. I tested this theory the other night on Saturday. I was walking with my friend and I was like, I wonder how long we can walk before there's an incident. Mm-hmm. And New York is just filled with incidents all the time. And a lot of it is people, either emotional disturbance or they're carrying something from somewhere else and it's being displaced. It's called transference. Like I'm mad at somebody at home, so I go out and I'm mad at the first person I see in the street. Right. I'm picking something about somebody else, or I'm, angry about something that has nothing to do with what I'm really angry about.
Right.
Well, that's how
people so sad, because imagine all of the things that are happening, cruel things that are happening to the people, and it's not even the person that they took out there.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I would say you have to give people grace, because sometimes you could be at the supermarket and somebody comes behind you and they just have an attitude or whatever, and they're rushing you or whatever the case may be. Like I've run into these attitude type of people before. I kill them with kindness. I'm very sweet. I'm very try to be understanding, because sometimes, especially when it comes to us, like Black women, and I see somebody let's say we're online at Walgreens and she's just or let's make up a scenario. I didn't realize there was a line, so I got here. Mm-hmm. And somebody's like, oh, the line's over. Somebody could be like, oh, the line's over here. This has never happened. But imagine somebody being like, excuse me, the line is over here. Getting all excited about it. And there are people who get excited about things around you. And you're like, why are they so, even road rage? So angry behind the wheel. Mm-hmm. People get so angry. I've seen it time and time again. They get so angry. And I get it, because you're driving all the time and it's just annoying. But I'm more of a somebody did something irritating. You respond to it and you breathe it out. You don't necessarily engage with that person about it.
Right.
That's the part.
The people blowing the horn 20 times. I'm like, sorry.
And that's acting on, because now you're doing too much. Now it's just noisy and you're creating chaos for yourself.
Right.
Because somebody else came along and created a little bump for you. So now you're just being loud and aggressive and irate. No reason. Right. I don't understand it, but hey, people are people. I just try to teach people to do something I call safe. When you feel triggered about something, you scan, align, focus, and exhale. You got to scan your body, feel where those feelings are, acknowledge them, and then align with a higher vibration. So let's say I scan my body and I notice that I'm very triggered by something and it's in my heart chakra. I'm going to think about that and I'm going to align myself with gratitude.
Okay.
Align myself with something else that makes me feel better.
Yeah.
Just get out of there. Get out of that frequency, get out of that vibration. It's just nothing good ever ever happens in the low frequency vibrations. Like you got to get out of there. So my immediate response is to scan my body, align with something more positive, and then focus. I can either focus on something with my hands, focus on something. I don't care if it's picking up your phone. I have been in this situation before, and I started to focus on just making a silly video. And then all of a sudden at the end of it, I just felt myself exhale. I'd forgotten the whole thing. And this happened when I was in a relationship with someone who was emotionally abusive. And I learned something that is taught to people who have narcissistic partners. It's called gray rocking.
Gray rocking.
Gray rocking.
Yes, that's right. You did mention it. I'm writing it down. Gray rocking.
So when you turn yourself into a gray rock, nobody's moving you. Not that you're being obstinate and firm, but you are being fluid and relaxed and unfazed.
Unfazed. I like it.
That's why I use the word equanimous. Equanimity is my jam. Like if I can just be non-reactive to things, and not in a way of like suppressing my response, like I really want to be angry and I'm just holding it in, like not like that, but more like, oh, I see you. Okay.
And is that what the E is for in safe?
Scan. The E is for exhale. Safe stands for scan, align yourself with something higher, focus on something to distract you from the issue, and then exhale.
Exhale. Okay.
And it happens pretty naturally. Like that time when I was making that little video, I really was like, wow, this really works. Like I was like talking in an accent, and I was just being silly about something. I was going to send this to my cousin in London, and I just started talking about the curtains or something. And the next thing I know, I was just like it just left my body.
Yeah. Change.
Whatever I was upset about just left my body. So safe is my go-to for how I respond to things. Gray rocking is how I respond to people who are agitating on purpose, or someone who is digging for something to trigger you on purpose or coming at you. I mean, every time I post something about being in a relationship with someone who had narcissistic personality disorder, somebody messages me in my inbox.
Yeah.
There are so many people going through this.
Yeah.
There are people who are just here to be parasitic and to tear you down and to like purposely try to extinguish your light. Like they're attracted to you because they see this beautiful, bright spirit, this light being, and then they get there and all they want to do is rip it apart. And you're like, how did I attract this vampire into my life?
Right.
Crazy.
But so that?
You know what it is? I discovered for me, it was a lack of boundaries. When you are kind, when you're a kind, giving spirit, and you walk the earth with this like different type of energy, it's just different, because most people are very bitter or heavy or stressed or something, and you happen to know how to tap into joy. When you're one of those people, I will speak as a woman, men tend to want to, and one person even said it to me, I need that. You feed me. I want that. Like they will say it to you. Like, but you know, I say God is amazing, because sometimes people are saying things and it's not even them saying it. It's God trying to let you know exactly what they're thinking. So
he done asked you to take your energy. He done asked to drain it. He said it out loud.
Out loud. And I'm like, you don't even know how you sound right now. You sound like a straight vampire. Like, you know, I want that. I'm like, okay, sheesh.
Right.
That's a little scary.
With that, but don't try to take mine. Right. Somebody has asked Barbara, there's two questions. Barbara asked, what is chakra? And then I think Mommy asked, what is somatic?
Oh, okay. Well, we'll do somatic because that's easier. Somatic is the body, study of the body. Anything that has to do with the physical body, your physiology. So when you're triggered with an emotion, let's say you found out someone and you love just passed, and you are triggered with this deep, deep, deep grief, you're going to feel that feeling in your skin. It's going to create tears. It's going to create a lump in your throat. It's going to create heat in your chest or in your stomach. You're going to feel it in your physical body. And that's a somatic response.
Okay, somatic. Okay.
Yeah. So now for chakras are energy centers in your body that are vibrating all at different frequencies, literally hertz, different frequencies. So we have, the Roy G. Biv thing we learn in school of the when you take the light and it refracts into the other colors, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. There are 7 colors that white light through a prism refracts into 7 other colors. You will see red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. If you've ever seen a Pink Floyd album cover, the one with the light going through the prism, that's what it's doing. It's refracting into the other colors. So white light's made of 7 other colors. Each of those colors corresponds to a different chakra in your body. So the root chakra is red, sacral chakra is orange. The what is this called? The sacral. Got to come back to that. The stomach, I'm like, the stomach is different than the sacrum. But then the yellow, red, orange, yellow, green is heart, blue is your throat chakra, indigo is your third eye, and violet is your crown chakra. So every time you feel something or every time you have an imbalance, like let's say your finances aren't great, your root chakra is activated. Your back may go out because you're just stressed. That happened to me a couple of times just from I was a new wife. I wanted to do a perfect Thanksgiving. And it also happened to me on a Christmas where I was trying to create a perfect Christmas for my whole family. This was like years ago. My back literally went out. I bent over and I couldn't stand up. And that was hard. I mean, a lot of people just don't, correlate the metaphysical with the physical. But for me, that root area, my root chakra, my stability, my grounding, my feeling secure was endangered. I didn't feel secure. I didn't feel solid. And as a result, I ended up wrenching my back, like my back just, and it was no explanation. Like it happened when I was 22, it happened in my 30s, and it happened in my 40s. I just literally did nothing. And the next thing I know, I can't move. And it only happened when I was extremely, extremely stressed about something. So that's why I say each of those chakras corresponds to your emotional response to something. Or if it's a romantic affair, green is your heart chakra. This room is painted green because my mom lived here in her last days, and I had to move her into this room and take care of her. She had just come from a nursing home for 5 months, and I knew she hated being away from the family. I knew how she was feeling. My mom was a Gemini. I knew what she needed, right? So I made the room green for her heart chakra to help with her healing. Okay. So I just wanted that color surrounding her. Sometimes you can use a green light while you meditate if your heart feels broken or if your heart feels injured. You can use green stones to meditate with.
Okay.
These are small things. People who are okay with that, there are small things you can do to activate these frequencies and these energies for yourself so that you get more aligned and your chakras are balanced. When your chakras are imbalanced is when you have topsy-turvy things happening in your body. So each chakra is a different color, and use those colors to find ways to heal the chakras.
Okay.
Sometimes it's yellow flowers, sometimes it's a red carnelian stone. Sometimes it's,
what did you do when it was in your back? What did you do? Because
YouTube will give you YouTube will play you a frequency with music to get that one chakra aligned, but you should start aligning your chakras from the root up before you focus in on one chakra. Like I was focusing on my throat chakra at one point because I had to sing somewhere and I was like, I need to give my throat just, relaxed. So I was wearing this stone, lapis lazuli, this was my mom's ring. So I had a lapis lazuli stone on a choker that I would wear at the time.
Okay.
You know, there's just ways to keep the colors
So
near
you
me.
know, I have to know now. What did you do for your back since it happened several or a couple times at least? You shared. What
Every
did you
time it happened, it was just fine. Like the next day or 2 days later, I was just
So you didn't even have to do a thing.
not a thing. It
You
was
had
just
to recognize it was there. Like, did you, or you just knew? And so,
there's like literally no explanation for why it happened.
okay.
The first doctor I went to, he did all the things, you know, looked at me. I've had x-rays taken. I had whatever those things are, CAT scans, the things that let you see the, you know, the soft tissue. I don't have any nerve problems. I have some degeneration here, but these things are happening down in my lower back, which is crazy because it just, for no reason. And I really believe it was just me stressing myself out.
Interesting.
That's all it is. And people will say it, they'll be like, oh, I have a cramp here or something. I'm like, your left arm just went crazy. Just some stuff happens because you are stressing your somatic being out. All that mental stress creates chemicals in your body.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was in my toxic relationship, my hands would be shaking every single day. Like my hands were like this.
And it wasn't the coffee you had for breakfast.
No, I lost hair, I lost weight, my hands were shaking. My hands were shaking because my nervous system was taking a hit every single day. Like this is the person who would try to be arguing with me before I even open my eyes in the morning, you know, or like I'm on my way to work and the last thing they say to me is something inflammatory. Like there were just so many incidents. I was accused of like stealing a wallet. I was accused of things I wouldn't even think to do. So it kind of made me wonder, like, who are you that you even think that these things are things that someone would do? Like, I don't even live like that. I don't even move like that. So I don't even know why you would ask me these questions. And I'm like, this is weird. But instead of being upset about being asked about things I know are beneath me, I had to gray rock.
Because I was going to ask you, so what does one do when you're dealing with an individual like that on a regular basis?
In your home, or it could be your boss in the office. It could be your boss in the office. There are people like this everywhere. So I think if it's someone that you can't get away from, you literally have to gray rock. You should Google it, gray rocking.
I love it. I wrote it down.
Technique that they teach to people who are in these situations, and you can't allow someone to disrupt you or to usurp your joy. Like to me, my joy and my happiness is like the most sacred and protected thing. And once I feel somebody's making me unhappy, it's time to go. But I've had, you know, in that situation, it was a few years. It was like, it was good. Then it was like, you know,
that next,
a facade, and then it was like, and then it was like a facade, and then it was like, and then eventually when I was like, okay, this is just too much. Like my mom died, there were so many things I went through, the pandemic, taking care of my mom, burying my mom, grieving my mom. I'm going through this with a vampire in my life. So I didn't have the energy to focus on that. I just had to get through life. I was in survival mode. So this is another reason why I help people so much, because I'm like, I have felt that stress. Like I've felt that feeling of, you know, I don't know how I'm going to pay for this. I don't know how I'm going to, like, I'm going to lose my apartment. Like, I don't even know what I'm going to do right now. And that feeling is just it's not a good feeling. And then when there's nothing you can do about it, you can't stress about, what am I going to do? 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 What you need to do is go inward and wait for the answer to come in quiet. All of that. I mean, yes, be proactive, make phone calls, call who you need to call, do as much as you can. But there's a point at which you have to look around and say, I've done everything I can do.
Okay.
Now you need to talk to God. Some people it's prayer at the end of the day. But for me, it's meditation as well. So when you meditate, you are aligning yourself on a higher frequency with the things you desire, with the things that you need, with the things that you want to manifest for yourself. So it's that silence and that mindfulness of minute to minute, paying attention to what I'm feeling minute to minute. Like if anything happens between now and the front door, I'm going to notice it. Sometimes, you know what happens? Have you ever been in a situation where you wanted to go out, but you ain't know if you really wanted to go?
Yes.
So you sitting in the house, you're like, all right, I'm going to get ready. But then you're like, in the back of your mind, like, I don't really want to go. I don't really feel like going, but I should go.
What is that? Yeah.
That moment, I just stop moving. And I just say, you know what? I'm going to meditate for 5 minutes.
Wow. I
And
love that.
for 5 minutes, one time I just came up with the solution. I was like, oh, why don't I just do this and blah, 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 and then I don't have to go. But I came up with a solution. Sometimes I don't even remember what it was, but I remember feeling so proud of myself. Like, I'm so glad I meditated because now I figured out a way to make me happy, them happy, and it's taken care of. And I don't really have to do what I don't feel like doing right now.
It feels good when you do what you feel like doing. I'm working on that. I'm working on that.
Yes,
and does it get easier when you keep doing that? Does it get easier as it goes?
Yeah, it gets. Yeah. Oh my God, it's become second nature. It's like muscle memory.
Okay.
You know, because you have to constantly tell yourself, like, I'm in a bustle right now. I need to stop. Like that bustle that you in, like you just like that moment. You have to notice the moment. You have to really catch yourself because we get so caught up in the moment and this trying to find the solution, trying to find the answer, trying to reach out to this person. Sometimes people rehash a situation over and over and over and over when it happens. And that rehashing it is only putting your body somatically through the emotion again that you felt the first time, and the anger and the disappointment or the bitterness or the fear or whatever. You're conjuring that up for yourself over and over every time you tell the story.
So you're bringing up all of those unhealthy things in your body, your soul, all of that, all over again.
Chemicals. The nervous system is disrupted, and the nervous system is a somatic thing. Your nervous system is the thing that tells you whether you are in a state of euthymia, which is calm and peace and harmony. I recently went to an exhibit from a woman who's bipolar, and every piece was a different moment that she has in her states. So she had euthymia, which is the calm, then she had depression, suicidal thoughts, what we call self-harm. She had mixed, what is it called? Mixed state, I think it's called, where sometimes you can have two emotions at the same time.
Wow.
You can be in a state of depression, but also kind of like overly excited about something else. Mm-hmm. So like on the outside, you're overly excited about this thing, but on the inside, you are like beyond depressed. And this is something that people who battle with those types of imbalances with their brains, with the actual chemicals and hormones in their brains, these imbalances, a lot of people use medication to balance it out. But if you have a very mild version of it, meditation and self-awareness and mindfulness is the answer, because you have to pay attention to what you're going through in every single moment in order to catch it. Because the minute you get the trigger, you're off to the races. And you're calling your friend like, can you believe? And then you call the next friend, oh my God.
Over and over, reliving it.
Right. Yeah. Over and over. And it's like, it's self, torture.
Yeah. As you're saying it, I can think of some of the times, and maybe not even to that extent, but sometimes you can wake up in the morning, you're great, I'm having a good day, I'm going on my nice little run, I'm great. And then, like you said, something happens, and then you find yourself at noon annoyed, and you're like, wait, why am I annoyed? What happened? And sometimes I go back like, oh yeah, you relate to whatever, and then you were mad because you thought I'm overthinking. They mad because I was late, and I'm mad because I'm late, so now I can't even function well, and then I messed up in the meeting because I was late. So all of this
transference.
Yeah.
It happens in households with families all the time. Two people might argue in the household. The person walks to another room and now they're arguing with somebody else because they mad about what happened in the last room. You get me? Like it's very logical how it happens. It makes so much sense. And if you realize that it is your body that's responding to these things, it's how you respond to the thing, not what they did. So you figure out, how am I going to respond to this? It doesn't matter what they did. It doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter what their intention was. It doesn't matter whether they were good or bad, coming at you or not coming at you. That's not your problem. You are your only problem.
Because how you respond to it.
It's how you respond. And breathing is so important, and people forget that a 2-second breath before you speak can change the outcome of so many interactions.
Yeah. Taking a beat.
Take a beat. It can do it with others outside your home. It can do it with your own loved ones inside your home. And it definitely helps at work because, a lot of times a coworker will come around and do something and people really legitimately want to say one thing and they can't say that thing. So, and this is how you get the passive aggressive emails.
If you see below, as previously stated in my email,
as I had said before. Right? So, yeah, it helps a lot to breathe. Breathing is so paramount. Breathing and stop, drop, meditate. I say stop, drop, meditate all the time because, like I said, if you just in that moment of you're uncomfortable. That uncomfortability means you're not in alignment.
That's true.
I'm not sure if I should go.
Well, I gotta come to New York tomorrow, so I needed this conversation because, girl, like when people don't stay to the right. I need to know, like, stay to the right. I'm not even at work yet. I'm mad because you didn't stay to the right. I'm on my little thing and I got my thing to the right. And I'm walking to. Anyway, so yes, thank you for this.
Yeah, and that's chaos. That's the chaos we were talking about. The outside is bringing you chaos, and you're just trying to navigate everybody else's moods, everybody else's whatever they're coming at you with, everybody else's responses to things.
Sure you think about me? Whoever just cut me off and stayed to the left and not the right.
Not thinking about you.
She having a great day. She probably said good morning when she walked by, and I was mad.
Let it go. Let it go. You gotta let it go. Yeah, I like things though because you just can't hold on to it. They say holding on to anger is like, being upset with somebody and not forgiving them is like drinking the poison you want to give them.
How about that?
You're the one unhappy.
No, we do not.
You are the one unhappy. And they also say if we all put our problems in a pile, we would all what did she say? If we all put our problems in a pile, we would gladly take our own back.
You see?
Like if I put my problems in a pile with everybody else's problems, I'm sure I won't want anybody else's problems.
You see?
I'll be happy with the one I had. I'll be like, what? It's not that bad. I'm not dying. Like, it could be worse. It could be worse.
Word out. It could be worse. So it's coming to an hour, and I know sometimes people's attention span is low. Anything like me.
Okay, well, as long as
some people just joining, so I'm gonna drop a couple people. People. Orlando's making comments in there. Right? Like 5 minutes before we went on, he like, "How you know Aisha?"
I said a message to you.
Don't be asking me no questions. I'm trying to start. I'm having enough technical difficulties over here.
I said something prior. I was like, "How about this? Who knew?"
Mm-hmm.
Small world.
He's so happy to watching this conversation. That's what he says.
I'm happy he's witnessing this.
What was I about to ask? I was going to ask you something else. So what are some fun projects or exciting projects you're working on now or plan to work on soon?
Well, with Maurice, it is like a whole list because he's working in sports technology. He's got NFL and NBA players seeking his guidance in terms of chess mastery. And so he's coming up with, like I said, some like technology for the game of chess. He's also, and it's because he's doing these things that I have to facilitate and manage projects like these. Going back and forth between people and figuring out how to do stuff, that's me. So I love being involved in that. But I also love creating these pitch decks for TV shows that a Hollywood show developer is pitching. So shout outs to Val. She's been, for like the last 2 years, I've been creating these decks for her to sell her ideas. And that is really fulfilling because I'm first of all getting to like flex my design muscle, but at the same time, when these shows are picked up and anything happens, it's like, oh, I played a part in that. And then she's, saving a little space for me when things go into production. So that's nice to be a part of at the ground level and do the research. And I'm also helping some documentarians with their script ideas because one of them is doing a project that she had to interview a bunch of graduates from a particular school since the 30s, I want to say, and has all this research. But then to turn the research into a script takes taking a huge cloud of information and just streamlining it down into like bones, a skeleton, and then filling in the meat. But it's hard to see when you're, can't see the forest for the trees is a real thing, especially when you're a creator of a documentary or something like this. Is the second time I've stepped in for a documentary this way.
Wow,
The first one's a 3-part docuseries. Yeah,
that was.
The first one is a 3-part docuseries.
Okay.
This one is a documentary. I don't like to speak about my projects because I'm always like under NDA when I start things, and then when they're done, then it's like out. But I don't like to give up people's proprietary ideas, and then big bank take little bank. They say like somebody here's the idea and it's like, oh, I can do that in 2 seconds. I don't, you know what I mean? So I don't put necessarily their ideas out until they are in the can, so to speak, when it comes to film.
Sweet.
So, yeah.
And I know they're so different, but they're so related. All of helping.
I've been trying to find a thread for like 15 years, Maisha. I've been trying to find the thread. Like, what is it that is the common denominator between?
It's the detail, it's the feeling, it's all of the things. Because when I'm working, I used to feel so bad. Even now, to this day, when I'm working and they're in meetings, the people on my team have been in the group for so long. I often feel like it doesn't matter what I say. They already know. They already have good ideas. Nothing I can say new to the thing. But I find sometimes when I'm present and I'm just paying attention, no, maybe some meetings I don't have anything to say. There's no new idea here, but sometimes there is. But I think, and you already have the gift of detail and paying attention. So I think that's what it is.
Clarity too. That's why I settled on Clarity Coach, because in the space, people are just specifically looking for clarity. Like that's just the easy way.
Clarity. And all the things, and you helping people design their closet, their room, their house, their packing,
moving furniture.
What the hell do I need to pack? Which way do I need to face? The door, the window? What needs to happen?
One week I packed 100 boxes in an apartment by myself, like a two bedroom down in DC. I packed the whole thing. And the owner came back and she did have to do some work because I was over my head. I did not realize she had a cabinet with like 45 liquor bottles that needed to be packed for international shipping. I had no idea. I usually have a very extensive into the drawers, into the closet kind of consultation, but because I'd been to the home as a guest and she was a friend, I was like, nah, I don't need to do that. Like, I know how many closets you have. I can kind of figure out how much time I'm going to need, but I definitely needed more time than I thought. So it just ended up being a very long job. But that is a very bringing like with like again, and boxing it so that when she's unpacking, she knows where everything is. And I created a spreadsheet with like details about some of the things that are in each box that I think she might be looking for at some point. So yeah, so that's what you get. Like I do a service where nobody does this service. Nobody does this service. Like people call me for their parents and their step parents, and all of it is to clear space in the home. One client, when we cleared the space, she got a new border. The border she had before was not nice. This new person that she attracted with this new space is a very kind soul, and offers to bring her things back when he leaves. The other person didn't even say hi or bye when they left the house. Once she cleared her space, it attracted a different type of border for her. So then she had an extra income in the apartment. It was just, I love doing projects where people feel free after I'm done.
Well, I feel like that. I felt like that. We got more work to do, but I'm ready for them.
Your office was, but we did a good job in there with the bookcase and everything. We figured out that the bookcase came off the wall.
Girl, I was so astonished. I'm like, it does? I've only been living here for half a long.
You got to figure out the little things, And I was so happy I could get your bookcase off the wall.
And sometimes you're just so overwhelmed, you can't even, take the time to figure that out. For you, it's just don't work. It don't work. Nothing's working. So
I've walked into so many homes where you can't see the floor. I've walked into homes where we had a 9-year-old, a teenager, and a mom all in one bedroom. I went to another home where a mom of 2 teens was divorced and moving from a house into a 2-bedroom. I've taken care of a widow in 2 of her homes.
Oh, wow.
But she had accumulated things from family members that passed and from the husband that passed. And so that's very difficult to deal with for someone.
Mm-hmm.
That's not, you don't want to throw away your loved one's things.
Right.
So my job is not only just like going into people to nice homes and like just organizing the nice things you have or clearing a really cluttered space that you live in, but it's also helping people to release, just to let go. And I do a little coaching, like that's a spiritual thing, to let go of someone's belongings that you love very much.
Yeah.
So I've worked with several widows.
Wow.
One woman's fiance committed suicide, and she said as soon as she was like, I just stopped living when it happened. And that was like 5 years of progress. This woman could not get in and out of her home because there was a dresser in the passageway to the front door, and she would have to squeeze past every day. And I can't imagine how long it had been there, but you just check out because of emotional things that happen. It affects you in a certain way. So I'm happy that I've been given the gift of interpersonal care. You know, my grandmothers were both nurses. My grandfather was a funeral director. My mom was a teacher. My dad is a professor. I am all about the care aspect.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and you can see, like, even organizing my books, like how did you know which books are grouped together, which ones I don't really need any? Like, it's definitely a gift.
I feel it. I'm like, she ain't feeling this book right now. She don't need. She hasn't looked at this in a while, right? And I would be like, these.
Right,
I think we love these, right? And then we put them closer to your chair. Those are closer to where you are. Yeah.
And don't get it twisted. Anybody mess up my books and my alignment with my books, I'm mad. I'm like, oh, who was here? My books are not by my couch the same way. I love it.
Mm-hmm. I'm happy for you. Yes, I'm so happy for that.
I am. So I'm gonna start closing out. But if there's any drop of advice you can give with people to get clarity and help with just the chaos that's going on every day with all of the new things that are in place with our United States of America, is there any parting words, any advice you can give to the people to help?
Don't absorb it.
Don't absorb it.
Do not absorb it. People are absorbing everything.
Yeah.
They're absorbing it. They're digesting it. They're swallowing it, digesting it, regurgitating it. And it's coming out as excrement also. Like, people are just eating it up. And I'm like, stop eating it. Like, literally just stop eating it, please. Please, for your own good, just stop. And I know I sound crazy, but I literally don't watch the news.
No, some people don't.
If you read the 4-hour work week, he says the same thing. Things that are important enough for you to know, you will know. I know the plantation house burnt down. You know what I'm saying?
You're so true. Yep.
You know, like it will come, somebody's gonna tell you, or it is going to come some other way. Like, it's gonna come to you because it's that important. Yeah. You know what? I'm sorry. I'm looking for the yellow chakra because I couldn't remember it. It's for personal power, self-esteem, sense of purpose.
Say that again. It's for what?
Personal power, self-esteem, and sense of purpose.
Okay.
Knowledge and learning. So remember, I was telling you red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and yellow. Red is the root. Orange is the sacrum. For women, that's very important, the sacral chakra. Yellow is that purpose. And your yellow chakra actually pulls, solar plexus. That's what it is. Your solar plexus chakra will pull from your sacral chakra when you need it. So like if you're a woman who's in a high power position in a corporate environment and you're constantly trying to you're bucking up and always being that tough executive, you're pulling from your sacral feminine chakra. And so your imbalance is heavily masculine, not enough feminine. And if you don't balance that out, it's going to affect you possibly at home with your partner.
I was just listening to something about that. Y'all, a podcast, knowing me and my podcast. But that's what they were saying, that if you're a woman, that's basically what you said. And if they don't take the time when they come home to recalibrate to be that they can be making so much mix up in the home, as my Caribbean.
Yes, because you're serving in one role in one place, which requires the solar plexus. And at home, Of course, you want to be your best self and you're going to engage all of your talents and all of your leadership abilities at home as well. But in a partnership, there has to be a balance of yin and yang.
Yeah.
It just has to be. So
Mm-hmm.
two people can't be battling to be in the same spot. It just doesn't work.
Well, that gives
So
me too many more questions, but not enough time.
we'll talk later.
Yeah.
But yes, I encourage people to balance their chakras, to read about the chakras, to meditate with the stones that correspond with a particular chakra that you might be trying to engage with. I definitely encourage people to do that.
Now, if they would like to reach out to you to figure out how they can get some more clarity, more directly up close and personal with Perfectly Clear, what's the best way for them to be in touch with you?
People can email me at ac@perfectlyclaire.com. Perfectly is spelled how you spell perfectly. Claire is Claire. And the phone number, if you want to text or call, is 347-927-4625. Those last 4 digits spell GOAL, goal. 347-927 goal, GOAL, 4625.
Cool. Okay. I wrote it down for people, so y'all can ask me too.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Perfectly Clear, for showing up for me and the people. Yes, this was so good. We need you. We need you.
I appreciate that. You and I can talk forever, so I'm
yes.
so
and I plan to talk with you again soon. I think we just need a good old fashioned date night and get it.
I know, so you can make me that drink with the little ginger on top.
I got you. So let's do it. If you're around for a little while, and it's birthday month. It's my big one this year.
Right.
So
well, if you're here, I know you like to traipse off.
Yes, but I like to do all of the things. I celebrate every month, all the months anyway. So just wait now that it's the big one. Yes,
good.
That in.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your week. Thank you for starting it off with Mojo.
Happy Monday, everybody. Thank you so much, Maisha.
And I'll reach out to you again for our part 2 or 3 that we might need for next season.
Yes.
All right. And everybody else, thank y'all for joining. Thank you for all your questions and comments. If y'all have any more, y'all know where to find me. Go on and DM me, IM me, all of the things. And next Monday, I should say, I'm going to have Andrea Pinkney is going to be our featured guest. And we're going to talk about mojoing through the 5 M's. We're going to talk about motherhood, mates, managing career. I think I need to put manifesting up in there, multitasking, and me time. So y'all join me next Monday. We're going to go through all the way to the end of June. And since July, like I mentioned, is my big B day. In July, in June, we're going to do every Monday in June is going to be about with somebody who influenced me different decades of my life, because it's 5 Mondays in June. I'm going to be 50. I'm just saying. It's just the right thing to do.
I like that.
So y'all join me next Monday, the Monday after that, and the Monday after that, and the Monday after that, because I'll be here. Y'all have a good week. Have a good night. And I'll see y'all next week at 7 p.m. EST. Thank you, girl. Good night.
Good night.